Hi, guys. We're going to wrap up our lessons about elimination today by doing problems where you have to multiply both equations by a number to get a variable to eliminate. So today it's not going to be super obvious, like, oh, I should eliminate the x's because they're already the same. We're going to have to do a little bit more work today to get to our answer. So here is our first example. Now, on this problem, I cannot easily eliminate my x's because I cannot change a 2 into a 5 by multiplication, and I cannot change a 5 into a 2 by multiplication. And the same applies for my y's. I cannot change a 3 into a 4, and I cannot change a 4 into a 3 using only multiplication. So right now, I've got to figure something out. One of my letters has to eliminate. And so since the letter is not going to eliminate, straight away, what we'll do is we'll pick one of the letters and we'll end up multiplying both equations until we can make them both be the same number. In this problem, there is an easier letter to eliminate, and that is the letter Y. The reason why Y is easier to eliminate is because it already has opposite signs. The first one is negative and the second one is positive. So next, what we need to do is we need to figure out what number can I change a 3 and a 4 into so that they'll both be the same number. And remember, you're only allowed to change it by multiplying. So I can change a 3 and a 4 both into the number 12. To do that, I would multiply the first equation by 4, and I would multiply the second equation by 3. Now don't forget, when you're multiplying, you're going to distribute to the entire equation. So I'm going to do 4 times 2 and 4 times 3 and 4 times 2 again. And then I'll do 3 times 5, 3 times 4, 3 times 28. Again, the reason why I chose to multiply by 4 and 3 is because I want to eliminate my letter Y, since they're already a positive and a negative. But for them to eliminate, they have to have the same coefficient, the same front number. So I decided that if I multiply the top equation by 4, I could get a 12y. And if I multiply the bottom equation by 3, I could also get a 12y. And now you can see my stacked equations have a negative 12y and a positive 12y, so those will eliminate. We're adding straight down, right? So remember, everything is adding. So 8 plus 15 is 23, and then 8 plus 84 is 92. And we're ready for our first answer. Our first answer is x equals 4. I divided by 23 on both sides. After you get your first number, don't forget to find your second answer. So in this problem, we've already discovered x, but we need to find y. And you can always do that by substitution. Now, I would not recommend substituting into these new equations because the numbers are pretty big. And also, you might have made a mistake when you were multiplying. So I would always take this answer and plug it back into one of the original equations. I chose to plug it into the top equations because the numbers were a little bit smaller and I didn't want to deal with the 28 really. So I put my 4 where that x is in that first equation, and now I'll be solving for y. And my y answer is positive 2. Don't forget, this is not how we write our final answer. To write our final answer, we write an ordered pair. The x number goes first and the y number goes second. So my final answer on this problem is 4, 2. Every problem on your homework tonight will require you to multiply both equations. So make sure that you are multiplying both equations until one of the variables has the same number in front. Let's try one more. In this problem, again, my x's will not immediately cancel and my y's will not immediately cancel. In this problem, it is equally as easy or difficult, depending on how you view these problems, to eliminate my x's or to eliminate my y's. All right, so because they're all positive numbers, it's not like I already have one with opposite signs. So you can pick whichever one you want. And I'm actually going to show you how to eliminate both of them, not at the same time. But just so that we get a little bit more practice with that elimination piece. So I'm going to start by eliminating my x's. And so looking at 2 and 5, 2 and 5 can both change into the number 10 using multiplication. But these are both positive, so I will need to make one of them turn into a negative 10. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply the first equation by a positive 5, which will make this be a positive 10x. And then that means I want the second equation to have a negative 10x. So that means I would have to multiply my second equation by negative 2, because negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. Okay, so the first one is times 5, and the second one is times negative 2. Notice when I multiplied by negative 2 that all the numbers changed to negative numbers. Now I can add straight down. So 10 plus negative 10 is 0. That's what we wanted to happen. 15 plus negative 8 is 7. And 25 plus negative 32 is negative 7. And I have my first part of my answer, which is y equals negative 1. Now, normally at this point in time, I would tell you to plug that back into one of the original questions, but I do want to just practice our elimination a little bit more. So let's instead try to eliminate the y's. Very similar to our previous problem, I have a 3 and a 4, and so I can change both of these into a 12, because 3 times 4 is 12 and 4 times 3 is 12. But just like our issue that we had with our x's, these are both currently positive. So I will need to change one of them into a negative 12. I'm going to multiply the first equation by 4. So I'll get a positive 12y. And then if I do that, I'll need to multiply the second equation by negative 3. So I get a negative 12y. Basically, if they have the same signs, you'll need to multiply one of the equations by a negative number so that you will change the signs of that variable. And it doesn't matter which equation you multiply by the negative one. I just multiplied the second one each time. But you totally could have multiplied the first one by negative 4 and the second one by positive 3, as long as one of your letter y's turns into a negative y. Here's what I got when I multiplied the first equation by 4 and the second equation by negative 3. Then we add straight down. This time my y's are going to eliminate. So 8 plus negative 15 is negative 7. My y's have canceled. 20 plus negative 48 is negative 28. And I've got my second answer, x equals 4. Don't forget, for a final answer, you have to write it as an ordered pair. So my final answer is 4 comma negative 1. This concludes everything you need to know about elimination.